In a surprise move, Utah's highest court is upholding an injunction blocking the state's near total ban on abortion. But experts say the fight is far from over.
Let's go ahead and bring in our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. So right now, that means that the current law that would allow abortions up to 18 weeks will stay in place while this litigation continues. But this doesn't mean that the state Supreme Court is necessarily agreeing with the Planned Parenthood suit, but it's agreeing with a lower court's decision.
The injunction, the standard is very clear. Likelihood of success on the merits. Will you suffer some type of harm that money can't buy? And so if a person that not being able to get an abortion, you can't give them money for that. And so because the court recognizes that there may be some constitutional issues here, the injunction will be able to be in place. They'll have a hearing to determine, okay, now, should this go forward, the injunction stays in place and we'll have an opportunity while the law is not enacted for us to actually hear the case. Because if they didn't do that, the law will be in place, people will get hurt, then you continue to actually hear the case, but those folks that were hurt in the middle, you can't recoup that. So that was the legal right thing to do, if they believe that the standard was not
You're
met.
saying going forward, where does this go forward? It seems like there's always some sort of clarification that comes down from the courts when it comes to these type of things.
1 First Street. You know where that's the address to? Supreme Court, D.C., all day. And this is where this goes. All roads lead to there. Since Dobbs' decision, once Roe v. Wade was overturned, every state that has a Republican-held legislature has decided to enact sweeping abortion rights. And then as soon as they did this, even these guys, they did this in 2020. That's why it's called the trigger law. They enacted this law in 2020 thinking that Roe v. Wade would get overturned. So immediately after it happened, it would trigger that this new law would take an act. And so they were ahead of everyone else. But in most of these states, this all leads to the Supreme Court. Most states are saying that they're challenging it on constitutional grounds. And that's what they're challenging in Utah, that you don't even have a constitutional right in our state to do this because you're violating free speech, you're violating due process, and a number of things that are being violated. And so the court has to unpack and say, do we have a right as a legislature to even do this? Is this constitutional? Not just are you granted the right to do it, but is our constitutional law, our state constitution that is.
Well, if it does go back to the Supreme Court, what does that timing look like? And what would that be if they take it up, and could that turn into a reversal of what they did in 2022?
So what I can tell you is anytime there is a challenge to constitutionality of a case, there's an opportunity for a law to be overturned. It took 50 years for Roe v. Wade to be overturned with the Dobbs decision, but you can guarantee within that time frame, there was challenge after challenge after challenge. I could think of, Thurgood Marshall. What he said is when you're fighting these type of civil rights cases, you're looking for the right person, you're looking for the right facts, and you're looking for the right timing. So with a case like this, you'll challenge it on the constitutionality basis. Hopefully you have great facts and you have a court, justices that are open to hearing. I think any case that comes before the Supreme Court right now, this court is not willing to hear it. Why? Because it's too fresh. They just had the Dobbs decision, but now down a years, 5, 10 years from now, maybe some new justices on there, and these cases keep getting challenged. Yeah, you'll see something that will be land breaking, and for sure, it won't take 50 years for a decision that will have rippling effects like this last one did.
Yeah, and also they got to think about the election coming up. There's still some factors going into that, no matter what the decision is.
This is something they tell you in law school. Most of the time when you have a law enacted, it will have an effect locally, right? And in Utah, this won't have an effect there. They are a bright red state. But also you talk about secondary effects. This case adds fire to the Democrats to say, look, we got to win here. We can get a win across the country if we get more states that support our thought process.
All right, Khalif, thank you so much.